If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
In the shimmering psychospace between perception and the unknown, there exists a world not accessible by plane, train, or spacecraft, but by molecule. Dimethyltryptamine, DMT, the so-called spirit molecule, has earned its reputation as a chemical key to an entirely different dimension. In mere moments, those who inhale its vapor find themselves blasted beyond the limits of language and reason, tumbling through a fractal landscape and staring wide-eyed at the impossible. And waiting there, in that kaleidoscopic void, the whispering architects of hyperspace, who, according to countless psychonauts, greet travelers with messages, mischief, and sometimes unnerving mirth. Are they figments of a chemically altered brain, or emissaries from a hidden layer of reality? This case file, join the theorists as they free-fall into the cerebral psychosphere without packing their metaphysical parachutes in DMT and machine elves.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing, Case File 361. I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
Oh, dude, you know what? I really tried to get this episode canceled tonight because someone in our Discord said if we canceled tonight, they were going to shove a remote up their ass. And I was like,
It's not too late.
I was like, we should. I was like, oh, boys, we need to have a town hall here and discuss what's going to happen next.
If it's on video, we should use that for content.
You'll notice
on the rails.
First off, fucking Andrew's not here, which is bullshit because, listen, we're only a few short months away from this Andrew. And let me do my impression of Andrew in 2 months. Fuck. No! Sorry, what?
Oh, yeah.
So we only got a good Andrew for another couple months, and he's missing episodes? Because come September, he's a fucking space cadet.
It's checked out.
Yeah. He's just groaning and moaning in the fucking background. Yeah!
There's 4 months a year where Andrew doesn't podcast, but he's here.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. He's a big contributor. I was like, dude, that guy... I was like, it's impressive to me that he can even run that because he doesn't do monitors, right? He's a single monitor. You know what I mean?
He's just like streaming in the corner.
Oh, you know what? There's no way. I guarantee you know what? I guarantee you. Andrew's so fucking shitty with computers and so dumb. I was thinking,
is he streaming on his phone? I thought he streams it on his phone. Yeah,
dude, 100%. He has his phone set up somewhere to watch because he's
got a little holder.
He doesn't dare open two windows on his computer. He's like, no,
if it doesn't have an app, like, you know, like
his computer only has like 2 programs on it because if it crashes, he'll never podcast again.
Yeah.
He's made that really clear.
As soon as that thing goes, he's done. He's retiring. We were supposed to also have Ben Bolin on tonight. But listen, classic Ben, big timed us.
Big timed us, you know?
Last second.
Mr. iHeartMedia himself, big timed us.
Yeah.
Mr. Ben Bowling for soup.
It's insane because I heard he was at the Boogosphere rally. Boogosphere Boogie is what I'm going to call it from now on. Did you guys see that press conference with fucking Greer? I was like, anytime Greer is attached to anything now, I was like, this is fucking bullshit. 100% bullshit. I don't believe it. Stephen Greer's involved. He brought scientists. Listen to this. They flew the fucking orb. These orbs that came from fucking aliens that dropped. They flew them.
They flew them?
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
Colombian,
the Colombian spheres.
The fucking Booga orbs.
Booga spheres? I was like, what are you talking about?
Isn't that what they're fucking commonly known as, the Booga sphere?
Close enough.
Yeah, okay.
So these things caught on video flying around Colombia.
Yeah.
They crashed. They got all the intricate markings. We've talked about it.
Some random guy touched it and got really sick, apparently.
And then, so the team, they're like, we got to get this in the hands of the best scientists. So they fly to fucking Mexico. I was like, first off, there's no fucking way. There's no way the best scientists are in Mexico. I was like, is this some sort of fucking all-inclusive research facility? Like, you go there, we'll study your orb, and you get 5 days, 5 nights, all-inclusive at the fucking Riviera Maya.
No, man, Mexico's full of great scientists because no one could afford the scientists in the States. So you get the budget version, you go to Puerto Vallarta, you get the budget scientists.
Yeah.
It's like a dentalvacations.com.
They're fine.
100%.
So they fucking have this big press conference, and Greer's like, this thing's, we're getting the chance to study something from another civilization or from out of this world. And I'm like, the second Greer's attached, I'm like, fucking bullshit. There's no fucking way this guy's about to be.
Greer is the holy grail.
Did you CE7 it? Like,
don't you sludge my boy Greer.
So then at the end of the press conference, he's like, he has like a little Twitter thing. I don't know why we follow him. I'm fucking every update I get from makes me mad. Greer's like, update on the Boogospheres. He's like, yo, you're never going to believe this. After the press conference where we announced all this crazy stuff with the spheres, none of which are at all been studied yet. They're just speculating, like, maybe it does this. Maybe it sends and receives signals. I was like, there was one guy at the press conference who was like, it looks like some of the marks are from like a permanent marker. And they're like, woo. So he's like, fake Mexican police tried to abduct the orbs. They broke into the vault in which we're hiding them, and they almost got away with it. And I was like, almost with what? If it wasn't for you and those pesky kids? Like, who the fuck is stopping fake Mexican police from stealing this fucking make-believe orb? Greer? I was like, this guy's...
Where was they having the conference?
In Mexico.
Oh, in Mexico. And
Mexico.
Ben was there? Ben Bowling got to go?
No, I just assumed he was there because they said it's all the who's who. So I just imagine he in my mind, I'm imagining that he was just probably in the back, just off camera.
Yeah. He probably was.
About to ask a question. Yeah. So I was going to ask his opinion on that, but big time this. He probably knew.
Maybe we'll get him next week if he's not too busy.
Fake Mexican police tried to steal the orb.
It's insane. And it was insane. I was like, how? I was like, logistically, this thing is.
I can't wait.
There's no security on this thing.
I can't wait till someone publishes the Boogosphere saga. Like, I can't wait to eventually everybody rounds all this stuff up into one.
Did anyone try and cut the spheres with a cake knife? Has that been tried yet?
They are like, and this happened like this. We're talking like hours ago. Like, this is, as of this recording, this is breaking news. If you're listening,
this is why we follow him on Twitter.
This happened today.
Follow him on Twitter. Yeah. So we get
but I was saying to someone,
updates.
One of Jamie's friends was asking me about some alien stuff, and I said, honestly, I was like, she mentioned this thing, and then mentioned Greer, and I was like, honestly, we need some fucking new faces, because all of these fucking guys in this alien sphere, I was like, if you're just glancing Twitter and you see Dr. Greer and this and that, it may seem, but if you're like us and you've talked about this stuff and research, you're like, these guys are all out of their goddamn minds. Every single fucking one of them. I was like, Lou Elizondo.
No, we just don't get it.
Travis Taylor.
We just don't get it.
I was like, they're out of their goddamn minds.
We were not deep enough in.
We need some new, we need some new bodybuilders to come back and take over, right? Some young
It's a new phase.
bloods.
Yeah, I guess Elizondo's been around since what, like 2019.
Yeah,
like,
it's time. It's time
2020?
it's time for some fresh faces.
Greer's been around before that.
No, the 8-chip program was like in the late 2000s, so he's part of it. It just came out in
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
2017.
when it came out, like, so he's been around since at least 2018. Greer was before that, right?
Greer was like before 9/11. He had that like disclosure panel, and then 9/11 happened, and he's like, "That's what buried the truth."
Right, and he had the document. He said
Ever the opportunist. That guy. Remember
and Corbell, and then it's Corbell and
Corbell.
big.
Fuck yeah. And honestly,
Corbell
even
and
George
Knapp.
Knapp, even Knapp at this point,
Well,
after
Knapp is
seeing,
having a resurgence now.
after
Knapp's been
seeing
around
the
for
state of
a
his
billion
fucking
years.
organization skills, we need some fresh researchers. on
George
this.
Knapp's been around since like Skinwalker Ranch. Like
George Knapp is like a
before.
microcosm of the entire UFO research community. So scrambled that the truth is in his notes, but he can't find it.
Maybe he's gotten better at taking notes.
Maybe.
I mean, he's a beauty dog.
Maybe Corbell was like, hey, you need to get your shit together, and then we can.
Hey, I don't mind Corbell though. I like the documentaries at least. They just never tell us anything at the end.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
When is someone telling us something?
We're gonna see this never before seen footage. You're like, wait a minute, I've seen this before.
No, what happened now?
Oh, am I still good?
Yeah,
No,
Oh, I just got a white screen for a second. I'm like, oh.
get that computer, get it ordered up.
Yeah. We just need some fresh blood. I mean, Cena's retiring. Think he crossed back over? Nah, he's too big. We need some like mid-level guys that have a little get in on it. Have you guys seen that? Hold on. Have you? This is off topic. We're supposed to be talking about DMT.
We always start off topic
But-
now.
Have you guys heard about this fucking guy who's
Haven't heard of him.
streaming from the dark web?
streaming from the dark
Okay.
web.
So this
He's
fucking
streaming
guy
on the web. He's not on the dark web. I
dark
don't
web.
believe.
So there's this guy. I think his name's Shiloh or something, and he's actually in the
Good fake
WWE, but he's like a prospect, so he's in their performance center stuff. He has like a series of YouTube videos and Twitter that's been going viral this week. I thought it was interesting. He goes on his dark web page, and all it's like a boot store, and you can buy boots, and the boots are named like Jonathan, Dale, right? And he's looking at his pair of
Are they
cowboy
hiding
boots.
kids in the heels of those?
Well,
boots?
he's like, well, what is this boot? Like, it kind of looks like there might be like these boots are dirty, and he's like, this kind of creepy. So he orders a pair of boots, and he streams it, and then he streams the boots come, and people are like, buy whatever the Luminol or whatever that you can spray on the boots to see if there's blood on the boots. So he goes, okay, so he does that, sprays the boots when they come, the boots light up like the 4th of July, just covered in blood.
So
In
there's
the
a black
boots,
light with the luminol.
Yeah.
Does Luminol specifically do blood, or does it do other stuff too?
or
Like,
semen. I don't know. That boots are covered in fluids.
It's probably any
watched
type,
CSI.
it's probably
That
any
stuff
type of
blows.
substance that's not water.
Yeah.
Probably.
So in the boot is a VHS tape.
A whole VHS tape.
Whole
That's a big
VHS.
fucking
In the
boot.
It's a cowboy boot, right?
So it's
Cowboy
like
boot.
Oh,
just
you mean
stuffed
like in the
book.
top?
Yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't
okay.
hidden.
Like-
I just kind of told the story out of order.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So he has this VHS. He's like, I don't have a VHS player. So he's like, I'll fucking get it, right? And so he gets a VHS player, and then they're like, he's fucking around with trying to get it to work, can't get it to work. Finally gets the VHS to work, and it's like this weird fucking creepy version. He can't show it all because some of it is fucking
Snuff film stuff. Or?
snuff film stuff, right?
Uh.
And then in it, someone's
Sources.
splicing a recording of like saying his name. So he's
Alright.
like, "Whoa, this is fucking creepy."
Interesting.
So then he goes, fucking. Someone's like in
Then
his
what is
chat,
it?
like
7 days or whatever.
someone's like, you should check the boot. So he look in the boot, and he kind of finds like a loose spot in the heel of the cowboy boot, cuts it open. There's a fucking tracking device.
Oh, great.
Right. So then with his chat, he kind of figures out that this thing must have a SIM card. So they pull the SIM card out, they buy a burner phone. He puts the SIM card in the burner phone, finds out where the fucking, like where it's from, and then calls the number that's associated to it. And there's a voicemail, and he's streaming it. So the voicemail plays once, and he leaves a message. Then when he calls back, he's like, what a fucking idiot. This guy never changed the voicemail on this fucking, like, he's like, he would 100% get busted. And then when he called it back, they had changed the voicemail. So he's like, whoever this is fucking watching. They're watching what I'm doing because there's no other way. I just thought it was like the most fascinating. I've been glued to it. I don't like whether or not this guy's bought Dead Man's Boots or not. It's just fucking fascinating that there's this like whole seedy underworld world where you can either buy bloody boots or semen covered boots and someone's tracking your location. You guys, I don't even know how to get.
Weird place.
How do you get on the first off? How do you get on the dark web?
Who fucking knows?
You guys know? Like Dan, like you're probably
Dan
the only
knows.
one.
He can.
Dan's like, I'm not talking about this. Like, how do you do it? Like, if I was on computer right now, what do I do? Google dark web?
I can't remember how to do it. It's like
Here we go. How to get on the dark web.
well, it's like you can Google it. Like it's not hard. Like you can just get on there. It usually download like the Onion. Was it the Tor browser? Like the Tor browser, and then it's a specific type of browser.
Because the web, I mean,
so
the web's hosted somewhere. So does the dark web just have like a secret?
It's not like secret. It's like you can get to it. Like
but like.
Is there like a Google
the web
dark web?
is just full of servers. Everything you search is on a server somewhere. So like, what's the dark web doing? I don't know.
Remember.
I have no idea.
I just remember from my cybersecurity stuff that was like, if you wanted to, like you get the Tor browser, which is like the Onion router, whatever the type of whatever. It has a bunch of IPs and stuff like that. IP addresses and stuff that you can connect to, and then
the dark web's just like surfing on a VPN.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, if you connect to the dark web, you want to be going through a VPN.
I would imagine. People are fishing for passwords on there. Right?
100%.
Definitely, like that's something you want to do. Like if you want to get on the dark web, like basically you need the Onion, the Tor browser, and then the VPN, and then you can do it and just Google it. It's not too hard. I think I remember I read something, people were like talking about it the other day, and they're like, yeah, it used to be a lot more interesting years ago before, everybody found out about it. But now it's like, it's not that great.
Like,
I don't know, back when the Silk Road existed.
Clunky version of the web now, a clunky version of the web.
Back when the Silk Road was a thing, like that's what people said.
It is strange that there's this like seedy underbelly to like something that we all use, that's strictly used for like nefarious purposes. And there's people like people lurking on there to like cause you harm, and
somebody's going to do the effort to get VHS tapes, record stuff on VHS tapes, and put them in cowboy boots,
slice them with your name on it, your name in it,
put tracking devices in the boots. Like that takes effort. Weird. You got to take the heel out. You got to hollow out the heel and put it in a tracking device. That takes a whole. Yeah. That's like a day's worth of work.
Case file 362, live exploration of the dark web.
Braden buys semen covered boots.
Yeah. But if you were going to buy DMT, which I imagine is a hard drug to buy, dark web's where you would buy it. The thing with DMT for me is like, especially when people have, I've talked to people who've done it and stuff. It's like a lot of the times people are like, oh yeah, you get a broken light bulb and heat it up in the light bulb. And I'm like, oh dude, the second you're telling, is there not a better way to do it? Because
there's better ways. You can buy DMT vapes. Like someone makes a vape and you can buy DMT.
Because I was reading, the two principal ways that people do it is like they either smoke it, like they can vape it, like they can do it like that, but that doesn't last as long as you can consume it. Like you consume it if you
Let's get into it. DMT.
Dimethyltryptamine.
Dimethyltryptamine, or sometimes N-dimethyltryptamine, is a tryptamine alkaloid, structurally similar to other chemicals like serotonin, melatonin, and other brain function chemicals. If you want to get real, it's C12H16N2 if you're a chemistry buff.
Biochem.
You start fucking cooking your own, I guess. You can figure out how to get that all joined together.
If you put all those molecules together.
Dude, DMT is one of those chemicals that's found in like dozens of plant species. Traces in the human body, like sometimes in the lungs and other places.
Which like trace amounts, I feel like you can find trace amounts of anything, anywhere. I feel like sometimes.
Sure, but it is, and the reason it's only trace amounts probably right now, because during rat studies, they found, so go the theories, I don't know how reliable, but during like a moment of death, when they extract DMT from the pineal glands of rats, that's when it is formed, they say. So it hasn't been documented in humans because you'd have to have the brain open kill someone, and then measure the release of this chemical into the bloodstream. And they say it's pretty much it's an hallucinogen. It's similar to like psilocybin. So it just will alter your reality.
Right.
And then the theory goes of it is because it's so heavily guarded, like as far as any other drug, even Schedule 1, some of them have trials, and, you know, psilocybin and like ecstasy, MDMA, there's like trials, even though they're illegal, but DMT has had very few trials over the years. And they say it's because it perhaps unlocks your ability to access other dimensions.
Well, the interesting thing with like first off, even thinking about hallucinogenics, a weird thing that happens that a lot of people experience is like very similar experiences. And to me, that's a weird thing because you think that everyone would experience, like their experience would be unique, but you have people claim to see the same things. And I mean, there's even those guys. I fucking can't remember what they're called, but they do the code. Have you guys seen that? I think we talked about it briefly before.
The code?
Yeah. So if you set up two lasers against the wall in a cross formation, and then do DMT, and then you sit at the edge of the lasers and look down the laser sight, it's a repeatable. These guys are doing like their own fucking drug research. It's a repeatable study where you can lean in, and every single people says they start to see code, like coding.
Like matrix coding when they're looking down the laser. Every single people that does it. And it's such a weird thing that they're like, how is that every single person that's doing it? And it's not like there's one person that's like, nah, it's everyone. Everyone's like, holy shit, I see the codes. Crazy.
Right? And even they're doing a blind study. They have people doing it, like blind, going in and just getting them to do it, and then describing what they see, and they describe seeing the code. Doing this very like laser study. You can look up. There's a documentary on it. I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Well, the big thing about DMT is it's all about Rick Strassman and the spirit molecule is what they call it. But let's get to that in a second here. Let's keep going through what DMT is, because we talked about, Dan briefly said you can smoke it, right, in a free base form, right? You know, crystalline DMT, what's called. You know, so you're smoking crack, you're smoking DMT. You know, similar, different outcomes. You know. But you can also
spin around for you can brew it around. But it's a central component in ayahuasca brews, right?
Yeah, so the Amazonian,
thousands of years,
Amazonian or Central America, they do all these like shaman retreats. It's like become like shaman tourism. So pretty much you have to get these special plants, and then you have to like boil it and combine it with a MAOI and like inhibitor. Which makes, because if you just eat a plant containing DMT, your body just naturally gets rid of it. There's no effect.
Or it doesn't have time to absorb it, I guess. Like it needs time to
It's a time release inhibitor, they call it, right? That's the MAOI inhibitor. So you can take that and then you
drink. What is like a Pepto-Bismol?
Fuck, probably. And then that's like a slow release, so it's going to last like 4-6 hours at peak, and then people say like 10, 12, 14 hours it's still going on. And then some people who go to these like shaman retreats, they'll do like sessions in a row, like start small, and then the shaman's like, I'm going to show you God, and then they just fuck you up. That scares me as someone who's tried hallucinogenics. To have like that long of a trip would be phenomenal if you're having a good time. It's true.
If you're having a fucking,
you're trapped in the wrong dimensions.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or like the old fucking anxiety dimension. That's a long time. And you do hear stories, if you've looked, about people doing these ayahuasca retreats and fucking having a negative reaction and passing away. And my thing is like, dude, the stress, I couldn't imagine the stress of having a bad trip and you're just like, this isn't ending. You know what I mean?
How long has it been? 10 minutes.
Yeah. An hour. You got 13 to go.
A day. You have a whole day left. All right. So
right,
buckle
you're having
up.
A bad time. And and the problem with a drug like DMT, and again, I'm very curious, but I've never done it. It doesn't sound like, you know, if you do magic mushrooms, you're still lucid. Like I could still talk to both of you and like you guys could be like, you're fine, it's okay. From what I've heard of DMT, I don't think we can have those conversations. I don't think I'm present in this realm as soon as I take it.
It's considered the most potent, naturally occurring psychedelic by a wide margin.
Because, like, just a little segue, I watched Zell do fucking salvia, and that lasted 45 seconds. And I've never seen fear in a man's eyes. It scared me straight. I was like, I'm not doing that. It was so scary for me to watch him. It was insane,
actually. That was an insane drug, no doubt.
Yeah, to watch him like in just like an utter fear of what's happening and just being like, oh, and then it ended so quickly, and him hugging me and being like, please tell me this is real. It's over,
dude,
right? Please.
I've told it somewhere, but this is, I did that before I did any other hallucinogen, because you used to be able to buy it at like
garden center
at the smoke shop. Like you could go buy like a bong. You couldn't buy weed at the shop, but you could buy salvia. It's just like a little powdered packet. Open it up, put it in a bong, and smoke it. So we were smoking weed, take a few big puffs, and then we're like, Nick. I think wasn't it Nick Piscuzzo had it?
I think so.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, we're all going to smoke this. So he puts it in, and I take a huge bong rip like I'm just smoking weed, but it was a pack full of salvia. And instantly, my body was transported out of my physical body. I was looking down at myself. The whole world turned to claymation. I felt like I lived for a day. Nothing felt real. I felt like I was gone out of my body. I'm never going to get back in. And that's where the terror comes in. And then, like, I don't even remember being scared. I just remember, like, the aftermath, thinking back of, like, what the fuck just happened? I was on the ground, and I think Mr. Conspiracy was stepping on my hood.
Dude, he wasn't stepping. He had it pinned with a finger.
That's what I mean. I thought I was either stepping on it lightly or pinned it, and I felt like I was trapped to the ground.
Dude, you were like a turtle
so
on
crazy, dude.
Dude, I was like, let him go. Let him go.
Lasted a minute, and that was like the first psychedelic I ever did, which was there you go.
Honestly,
so be careful.
It scared me so much. I never. They're like, you're next. I was like, no,
nope.
I'm not. Did you just see him? I was like, I'm not doing that. Now imagine that for 14 hours. You know what I mean? Like if you had that kind of panic, like that would probably do some damage to your physical fucking body. Well, if you kind of had that kind of stress.
From reading and listening on podcasts, people have done it. The ayahuasca journey is not as profound psychedelically, like visually. It's more spiritual. You're guided through it. You have like a person who's not on it, and they like guide you through it. But if you smoke it, you get like that same, I guess, I've only talked to one person who's done it, and he's done it a lot. And he smokes it. He has this little like vaporizer pen that comes in. He buys it from fucking dark web, I guess. I don't know where. He smokes it, and he just like leans back on the couch, has a 5-10 minute like journey through the universe and other dimensions, sometimes living for 100 years, he says. And then he comes back, and in 5 minutes, he forgets it all. So as soon as like he comes out of the trip, he tries to explain it, whoever's there, and then by the time he's done explaining it, he forgot what he was explaining.
That's an interesting concept. Dan, have you done hallucinogenics at all?
No.
So one thing I'll say, like
allegedly, no. Dan can't. Dan works a very secretive job. He can't tell us.
Having done shrooms,
most of the time, I'm
Dan goes to Thailand for one reason, and that's to do mushroom shakes on the river. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, it actually blows my mind that you've been to Southeast Asia as much as you have, and you've never been accidentally dosed with mushrooms, because that happened to me and Zell.
Oh yeah, big time.
With shrooms, like I get that fleeting. I'm gonna call it fleeting knowledge, because sometimes on high doses of mushrooms, I've had profound realizations and made connections, and then like the second you have that eureka moment, you were like, oh my God, it all makes sense. And you're like, oh, I need to explain this or write this down. You're instantly losing the information. Like it's a weird, anyone who's done it probably has that experience.
You have ego dissolving moments where you're like, all right, this is the key to my life. I have to remember this. And then as you take 4 more steps, you're like, what did I have to remember again? And then it comes back, and then it comes back again later in the journey. but a little bit different, like 4 or 5 times sometimes. And usually when you do it with people, you all kind of have a similar experience.
Yeah,
like
you have
like
a joint
together.
I wonder if you smoke DMT together, if you would have, but it kind of sounds like it's a couch potato hallucinogenic where you just lean back, your mind leaves, your body stays.
Extremely out of body visual.
Yeah.
From what
so the interesting thing for me is now, if you're smoking it like that, you're sitting back, like you like having a trip that feels like you're like, I lived a full life, and then you come back and it's only been 10 minutes. What is
people say they have like had a family, a different body. They had a family and they had kids and they had like they fucking journeyed in a different universe and then they had lived a whole life and they come back and they miss it. Like, fuck, that was a great life I had there.
Oh, the depression though when you came back of like seeking that, you're like, how do I get back?
Well, I mean, but that's what it is. It's they say it's the safest drug because your body just naturally just gets rid of it. There's no lingering effects. And we'll get to a little bit like from the Rick Strassman experiments, everyone who did it multiple times, like no one had, it's not like you can tell, like you ever met a guy and you can just tell he did way too much acid.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like sometimes like those like lab made hallucinogens, you take way too much, you don't come fully back, like you just don't, the brain doesn't return to normal.
There was I knew a guy who had a bunch that like he had it in his pocket and got wet.
Oh, absorbed through the skin.
Yeah, and he's like, you're like, oh yeah, yeah.
So
I don't even know if you had to tell me that happened to you.
Like it's so there is like some super, like obviously that's lab grown, that's not natural, but they can make them so potent on like one piece of paper, like 20 doses on one piece of paper, when normally one little strip of like an acid tab will be enough to have like you had fun. But people will put like 40 tabs on one tab and like that's it, game over. Where it seems like DMT, because it seems to be naturally occurring in the body to some degree, or you naturally absorb it, get rid of it, whatever. It doesn't have that like lingering effect. Having said that, and to protect our own butts, it is still a Schedule 1 drug. And all these are just experiences we've heard about. We've not done it ourselves, and we don't condone.
I'm telling you right now,
ordering DMT from the dark web.
I'm telling you right now, though, like legit, everyone listening, I'm so curious about it. I don't think I can go my whole life without not trying it once.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like, dude, I'm like one time, 100%.
If I knew for a fact that what I'm about to smoke was really DMT. That's my one concern.
With no doubt, like we're crack cocaine.
It's just like the guy's got he's got fentanyl.
Just order a cowboy boot full from the dark web.
If I could like watch a guy make it and I knew exactly, I would be like, all right, I'm in.
All right, just fly down to the Amazon. Just
no, the thing is, I don't want to do the ayahuasca. I want the short experience.
Yeah, I want the short experience too. I'm an instant gratification guy.
Well, the ayahuasca tea like that though, people get like severe like cramps and bloating and they throw up and sometimes they puke blood. Like it's not necessarily a good experience for a lot of people. Because you're making the body absorb something it normally wouldn't by combining this like inhibitor and like drink this gross ass tea and then go on a journey for 10 hours.
Yeah, it's too long.
Like I don't got that kind of time.
You know what? If I want to,
nobody's got that time.
If I want to go,
we barely cobbled together like 2 hours of the podcast. Exactly. Like I only got time for full.
If
nature.
I want to go on a journey,
I got kids.
There's a lot of companies now in BC that you can buy a healthy dose of psilocybin in a little cap.
Oh, buddy,
you know exactly what you're getting, and you can have fun for 2 hours, and that's fine. You know what you're getting into. They're still gray area illegal, but
someone sent me them forever. I've had these fucking full.
They
package,
rule actually.
Two package of microdosing shrooms. That you're supposed to like you use them every day, and then like they're like such small thing. You know, they're like 200 milligrams or whatever, like nothing crazy, and you take them every day to help for cognitive benefits. That's what I got sent, and I was supposed to do. Do you think that's how I use them?
Absolutely.
I ate like 10
Yeah.
on like a Saturday night. I was like, yeah.
Well, if one is good for cognitive benefits,
Dude, the-
10 should be even more.
The
Well, you know.
microdosing stuff is funny. It's like, you just take a little bit of acid every day, you'll be good. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, really? I don't know. Just enough. Like, that was like the Nitro Circus guys. A lot of them were like microdosing when they're doing those insane stunts because it just like freed them of fear.
Yeah. Just be like, yeah. Be like, I'm not scared to do this. I'm like, maybe you should be scared.
Should I just jump out of a plane without a parachute and hopefully people catch me? Yep, here we go. Like,
But on the topic of like people having experiences of like having different families and going to different dimensions, and like to me, I'm interested in like, if that's such a visceral, like real experience, like what's to say that it wasn't, you know what I mean? Based on, you know, what we know about different universe stuff, like could that have been a real experience? Like whether they inhibited someone else, somewhere else, some other time, and just joyrided, right? For a lifetime, or, you know, are they going to some different plane of existence where it would seem to me like a more of a one consciousness thing, like a Akashic record, where it's like we're all connected to what consciousness. It is a single stream, and like we're all different like streams from this river of consciousness, and that you're just kind of retacking into it when you do this. So it's like you are popping into another stream, but it's consciousness is. We're all the same. It's this river of consciousness, but we all think of ourselves as individuals, but we're really not. Like that's kind of where I think of it when I hear stories like that, where then it's more easily for you to just slip into, you know, somewhere else.
well, so I'll get to him briefly. Maybe we'll come back to him again. But like Terence McKenna, he was the head of that thinking, right? He was kind of like an intersecting like researcher of science and psychedelics, transhumanism, and like spirituality and like a bunch of stuff.
People call him a psychonaut, which is a cool name.
It's a great name. But pretty much what his core belief was that like substances like DMT and like psilocybin, they pretty much allowed access, like you're saying, to like different dimensions. That he really, really believed that, like hidden layers of consciousness. So, I mean, and that's what's kind of led to like this modern like resurgence of ayahuasca, like the Terence McKenna, like he's the pioneer of like, all right, the powers that be, unlike other Schedule I drugs that have some research, this one's like very little research because it connects you to a global or interdimensional consciousness, the Akashic field, some say, right? Like you're one consciousness. We're separated individually, but taking a drug like this changes your brain chemistry or whatever it is to be able to access this like field of consciousness.
Right. And allows you to communicate with what he dubbed the term, or he originated the term machine elves, right?
Machine
or
elves,
DMT elves, right?
Machine elves are like self-transforming machine-like entities, I think he called them. So some people see, and it's a repeating pattern where people see these other like little like machine elves. They're kind of like psychedelic elves or other like machine-like creatures like that, kind of like kaleidoscope creatures, and they seem to be intelligent. And some people say they communicate with them and they give them all these secrets to the universe. Some people call them like that's God. These like creatures. It's not a God. It's like the God, like the God that all religions are based around. Every religion is just based around originally people doing psychedelics, seeing these things, writing stories about them, and then through generations passed down through oral tradition, then written tradition, and they get their own names. And like that's the whole like origin of a lot of religions, some people say.
And the depiction of them, like if you look it up, and again, a lot of people why isn't this working? A lot of people say that like you can't actually describe it because everything's moving, and it's like this is the best way, but they see these like these vivid shapes and then these beings come out of these shapes and like
very kaleidoscope, right? Like very fractal almost.
Yes. And that's what they say. But it's like it's a shared experience. It's not one person seeing machine elves. It's like it's it's so many depictions of them that it makes you curious as to why does everyone see these same things. It's very interesting. Like, is there some other beings that work at some level of keeping everything afloat, and is that what these things are?
Yeah, that's the cool thing. Like he's quoted as saying like the DMT experience is more real than reality. Like some people who come back from a DMT trip say like, what I experienced on this trip seems more real than just waking up in this reality, which is like such a profound thing. Just strictly brain chemistry or not, like just be able to wake up from doing this drug and being like, that was more real than my whole life. Like, it's fucking crazy.
I've been living a lie.
That's all a lie, man.
To me, it seems like it'd be an experience that's unfiltered from physical experience. It's something that's to some extent probably like self-contained, like, or contained all within, concentrated in your mind, where it's like where you're kind of, you could say, maybe hindered, or like you're behind the physical sense normally, right? Like you have your skin, your touch sense, your five senses, like that's what you get and that's what you filter the world through. But if you have an experience like this, where something that unchains your mind to absorb all of that information at once, or how your mind maybe kind of processes things like in a type of organizational manner or whatever. But if you have something that kind of either disturbs that or unlocks that, and like you process all that information at once, it's like it's all unfiltered, so it all would be technically kind of more real because it's unfiltered, it's undiluted, it's all at once.
That's exactly Dan. That's exactly it, because they have done, like, what do they call them? I got a note on this somewhere. fMRI and EEG studies on, like, so scanning people's brains on DMT. And what happens is they call it the default mode network, which is the areas of the brain associated with like ego, self-concept, and like narrative. Those all light up, as well as the sensory and emotional regions. And that explains like the intense visuals and emotions. Because say you got like, normally you got like whatever, 1,000 pathways firing at once, but you go on this DMT and it's just like a million. You have like everything's connected now that normally it's not, because this chemical gets in there and opens up all the neural pathways at once. So in a way, it's a different dimension.
Right. And that's kind of like the stuff they say with like psilocybin, whatever. It's like,
very similar.
Your brain has formed, what is it, like heuristics or whatever, where your brain has formed pathways that it's like, it uses these, and they say like these are some of the benefits of like,
trauma and stuff.
with trauma and stuff, where it's like those pathways have been blocked because of trauma or whatever. And then some of these will reopen or, start processing again.
Your body has like naturally closed off certain pathways in the brain to deal with whatever trauma you experienced or PTSD, and doing like psilocybin, magic mushrooms. Let's
or even like just like your pre-generated like conceptions of stuff, like people who have taken hallucinogens, and they like before they were. I read one study where they were like they took pronounced racists, and they took that and then they realized like, hey, wait, no, we're all people.
Dude, I love the Jews.
Dude, if 100%, if you took the biggest KKK guy, like what do they call him, the Grand Master of fucking wizard,
dragon wizard guy, the guy at the top with the most hate, the worst guy.
Does he have the most hate in his heart, or is he just the figurehead of hate? Right? Really?
Whatever it is. Let's take that guy and then you take a guy he hates, a guy from Africa. Hates him for whatever reason. Color of his skin. No reason. You gave them both mushrooms. On that trip, there's no hate. Zero. Like within 20 minutes of taking it, that guy's it may not cure his hate, but during these are the studies we need to fucking do. We need to get a Grand Dragon, and we need to get one of those remember those guys that wouldn't give you a Bible in LA because you're white? I was white, yeah. The Black Israelites.
We need to get one of those guys, like two ends of the spectrum, right? and then put them together, secretly dose them, and then see if they're both racist.
I just guarantee they'll be friends on that trip.
Here's my worry though, because a lot of the trip, especially with mushrooms, when you're going in, it's all the mindset going in.
It can be, definitely.
Right? So if you're like this guy going into it, you know what I mean? And then you're
there's different doses though, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like if you go in with a bad mindset and you take, let's say 5 grams of dried mushrooms, unmeasured psilocybin, right?
Yeah.
Because not all mushrooms are the same. Some are super potent and some are not. You can have 3 or 5 grams and not feel much, or you could have 3 grams and be to the fucking moon.
Everyone knows you got to split up those caps.
Caps, right?
you split up the caps.
But if you give like a lower dose, enough to just like rewire the brain a little bit, those like preconceived notions I think would dissolve in that time. Not necessarily when like the trip is over or you're going to change someone completely. But during that trip, like right now, we know we got to get what's the fucking Ayatollah leader, the fucking Iran guy. We got to get Trump in there. We got to get fucking Netanyahu. We got to go out, get all drugged up. Be like, listen, boys, what are we doing?
I thought didn't they just fucking announce a peace deal already? Ceasefire? They're like, everyone, it's all good now.
Just wait till tomorrow. Someone's getting bombed tomorrow.
If all goes according to plan.
Yeah. Iran,
that's what I mean. You get those guys in the fucking room and everyone does a little mushrooms.
That's my favorite thing about that whole thing. They fucking, first off, insane. Fucking, they fly. How long did 32 hours they were in the air undetected?
Oh, like the
States, the B-2 bombers?
B-2 bomber, which is by far the closest thing to a UFO that exists.
Insane. Every single person, every single like opposing country was like, oh shit. Oh no.
Well, no one knew they were up there.
Yeah. Precision strike. And then Iran was like, that's fucking it. We've had it. And they attacked a base and shot like 15 missiles at a US base in like Iraq or something. Qatar, and then 14 of 15 were shot down, and they let one fly that wasn't even close. And Trump's like, they got it out of their system. They're like, no more. All right, now we're tit for tat. I was like, tit for tat. You guys strategically fucking blew their nuclear facilities apart, and they fired 15 missiles. Tit for tat.
Some mushrooms, man. That's what you gotta do. That's what I mean. These fucking old men who know each other for years, dragging the young men to kill each other that don't know each other. It's a dumb thing.
I think they should go up in fucking with Space House and Blue Origin, do shrooms in Blue Origin while looking at the Earth.
Didn't you see Katy Perry went up there for 5 seconds and she changed. It was profound.
Yeah, she changed, dude. She changed. She's like,
that's a different case file, but that fucking shuttle didn't go into space.
There's no fucking way.
It came back clean.
It came back crystal clean. No burn marks, no re-entry, no nothing.
Didn't even go that far. Do you go that far to like get re-entry? Like,
no, fuck no.
Does Blue Origin go that high?
That guy who jumped out of that fucking Baumgartner was higher.
Baumgartner was higher, maybe. Yeah.
I think. Does it go higher than those? What is it?
No, I think
those high altitude balloons. Like, does it go higher than that? Like,
well, they said they went to space, the edge of space.
The edge of space. So what? Like,
anyways, that's a different thing. We're off tangent here, but get these people some fucking mushrooms so they stop bombing each other because it's dumb. All right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to dissolve the ego and rewire your brain. Still illegal for whatever reason.
But why? Like, what's? I wonder what the
money probably.
Is it money? Like, why? Because that's always been my kind of interest in why they ban and make drugs illegal. And they're just like, they take hard stances on drugs. Because one, to me, I'm like, it drives a lot of people to them because they're like, why?
What's up with this? What's up with this one?
And listen, there's some for sure. Like we all get it. We all see what fentanyl does. Like, I'm good. I don't need to try that. I don't need to smoke fentanyl.
So I mean, fentanyl is not a Schedule I drug dose. Fentanyl is used daily in hospitals worldwide. But it's a very, very powerful drug for the right circumstance.
But like even that, like you know, like cocaine and stuff. But like weed was legal. Weed was illegal for a long time here, and it's like, what was the purpose? What was the purpose of that? Right, other than fucking
cigarette companies,
big paper.
Wow,
yeah,
I know.
It was big paper. Big paper.
In the United States, part of it was
reefer madness, man.
Well, part of it was racism because it was a lot of the in the Southwest, like there was a lot of Mexicans like a lot of Central Americans like made their money like selling hemp and hemp products.
Isn't that what
and
marijuana traditionally is? It's like a wild tobacco. It's not even cannabis at all.
But they can use it. But like, and then for like hemp products and stuff, like they would make money off that. And so they went ahead and outlawed it.
I always thought it was big paper pushing to get hemp banned.
Well, that's the Jerry Jerry Ansel or whatever, the newspaper mogul.
Yeah.
He fucking he started those campaigns to squash it, and like if
it was the same thing with opium in the West, like in California and stuff like that, early days, like because a lot of those places where opium was sold and like you could consume it were run by Chinese, like they were run by Chinese or Asians coming over.
I would love to know if we did opium in the jungle that one time.
We definitely we did something.
It was black because part of me, I've looked it up. I was like, was it black tar heroin? What did we smoke? I don't know. I have no idea.
Heroin is just opium, dude.
Right? Is it? Like, I don't know.
It's all the same. They're all the same. Opium is like all. The guy was
called Dr. Feelgood. I thought he was good. He was a doctor.
Dr. Feelgood. Yeah,
I mean, I felt great. I felt great doing it.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was so chill. I had the most vivid dreams of all time. It was. Insane.
I didn't wake up in the morning going like, I need to do that again. It wasn't something I was.
Also, you were fucking punching the mattresses on either side of your body.
Well, I was having a wildly vivid dream about me running through the jungle.
Everyone had to give you a 7-foot berth because you were fucking flailing your face.
That's what I mean. It completely it rewired my brain. So when I went into REM sleep, I wasn't paralyzed and I was just doing whatever I fucking wanted. I was surprised I didn't stand up and just run away.
Yeah, I've always been kind of curious because I was like, that was pretty vivid. I felt chill in the moment, but when I went to bed, I was like, whoa, I was gone. My trip wasn't as cool though. I kept leaving and just going into the jungle and then getting lost and going, and then waking up in the tent. Dude, and going, why would I do that? And then I'd get up immediately and then I'd walk back out in the jungle, get lost again. I go, and then it just repeated like 8 times.
That one for me is like that one when I first smoked whatever we smoked. It felt like just smoking weed at first. Just like got relaxed. It was nice.
You know what? I'm going to describe it to everyone. We smoked it out of a wooden pipe, and it was like this black, like
heroin,
like goo, like a mole of like the guy kind of.
This is opium.
Almost like Play-Doh, like Play-Doh, like kind of like consistency. Like it was weird. And then I was like, whoa. I thought we were going to smoke weed when he said Dr. Feelgood. And then he went in there. I was like, I don't think that's weed. But we were already in there. You know what I mean? I was like, the guy was skinny. He looked like a skeleton.
We were committed.
Right? He had no body fat and no muscle at all. It was just skin on bones.
The guy's been smoking opium every day for 30 years.
And then he's like, he didn't speak a lick of English. And I don't think he spoke a lick of Thai because he just smiled at us with no teeth. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm having what he's having.
This is a good omen. This is a good omen. Yeah, it's Dr. Feelgood.
He's a doctor.
Yeah, I asked our guide, I was like, he's a doctor? And he's like, no. I was like,
he's not a real doctor.
He's a drug addict.
Had to pay him 30 baht for that.
Yeah.
Anyways, big tangent. Where did we leave off? DMT.
Elves. So the fascinating thing is that are these people that are having this like collective experience, and like we said with the code and stuff, are they getting glimpses into like the behind the scenes of like behind the curtain, so to say, of what's happening in our reality? And are these beings like actual other entities that are, because they don't seem violent or anything. They seem most like benevolent, right? So it's just whimsical, fascinating to me. Whimsical. Like, are you getting glimpses of something? And again, I kind of attribute to when you're seeing like, and again, I haven't taken it. So this is just what I think the experience is like. Our brains and everything is dialed into our wavelengths, right? Like what we see and what we perceive on Earth. So when you're trying to see something like radically different in a different dimension, it's coming through like not clear because it's not how we're supposed to perceive things. So it's like, even though we're seeing like a kaleidoscope version, like one of those fucking sailboat pictures where we have this fucking squint and like lean back, like we're just kind of seeing through the blur, you know what I mean? Where it's like, if we were meant to be living in that reality, we would be able to see better.
What if it's more like a shifting, like you shift into this other wavelength, and then like these machine elves or whatever, they take notice of you, and it's like when dogs like stand on their hind legs, like, oh look, he thinks he's people. Like, you know, that's how they see us, you know, just kind of looking at you, be like, oh look, that's funny, you know. It's just like, or like, you know, when I guess probably how whales perceive us, or like dolphins perceive us, like in the water, like they've never seen it before. Like,
yeah, it's like
funky weirdo.
It's like your
look at this weird little thing,
through.
you know.
Well, it's a weird
Just like,
thing. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. Like, are they just seeing us? Like, are they aware? But I feel like if they weren't aware of us outside of DMT trips, like I feel like whatever these beings are, they're probably a higher dimensional, and that they're aware of our dimension and the comings and goings. Or else I feel like there'd be a little more like, you know, on both sides. And you never kind of get that. Like a lot of people like describe it as kind of like just a kind of a calm experience. Like not
calm, but it's also like some people say divine, right?
What if it's like a not that they're a higher dimension? What if they're like a lower order, where it's like, you know, if you think about the universe as like split between like entropy and order, and it's like they're more closer to the entropy side, where it's just kind of like they don't have the strict order like we do in like our material universe, how it's organized, and then they kind of shift down to like, oh, look at this guy coming down to slum it. Like just be like, I don't have to worry about all the organization and eating food and all these things. Like they don't worry about that stuff, and it's just like
one of the cooler theories I read, I think it was on Reddit, was so you do this DMT, right? And everyone has a similar experience. Some call them elves, machine elves. Some people even see like insectoid beings or light beings, like godlike beings. But one of the theories I heard, which I thought is a cool theory, because we've talked about simulation theory before.
Yeah.
So we experience the world in a physical, like biochemistry way. Like we can touch stuff, we see stuff, we can take chemicals and change the way our brain functions and how we perceive reality a little bit. But maybe that changing of the brain waves, right? If you go with it's a simulation. So we don't know we're in a simulation, but we take this chemical that changes the brain waves, which is really just ones and zeros because it's a simulation. Now you're seeing the actual like architects of the simulation. Like
you're stuck in the pink goo.
Like you're not necessarily like seeing these people, but because you're a computer program, let's say, you're kind of like breaking the matrix a little bit, and you're seeing stuff that is, it's all digital, but we experience it in a physical reality. So that's because the way, because like, okay, because a scientific way to like explain
but if it's a simulation, wouldn't that be wouldn't the DMT be ones and zeros too then? Like,
but it's just like changing like your code of your brain and you're seeing the thing. Because the way people like explain this away is saying like, okay, everyone takes this chemical. The human experience is relatively benign. Like everyone's kind of the same person. So everyone has similar experiences because the brain operates the same way. And that's how scientists explain.
So you're going to see elves made of machinery.
But we all,
it's like the Jungian archetypes. Like, yeah, we all have the shared experience of being human. You know, we all got two arms, two like, or most of us, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes. We process information similar, you know, yeah.
And it's just like, so any drug that people take, people have a similar experience more or less across the board. Obviously there's exceptions, but people have a few beers, you feel good, you got a little buzz. People smoke weed, get a little relaxed, maybe a little paranoid, anxiety might ramp up a little bit. Like that's more or less the human experience, and most drugs is relatively the same. So that's how science like tries to disprove like the theory of like multidimensional. But if you're like, if it's a simulation theory, maybe you're seeing the computer code, you're seeing the archetype, you're seeing these machine elves are just they're the people, they're playing the game.
Right, they are machines. We're in the pink goo. We're all batteries.
Well, batteries.
Yeah. Steak's not real. Lady in red, not real.
Not real.
Well, I mean, that brings it back to like the code, like that code experiment of like you shine 2 lasers horizontally and vertically, and then you stand with your eye next to it, and people see coding.
I feel like that's how you would. I feel like that's what kind of what Zell is saying is like it's still similar. You're still processing the information in a similar way. Like our eyes are designed all the same. Like, it's more or less, you know,
We're
except
pretty
for
much
classes and stuff.
99% the same, all of us.
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
but it-
but you
like,
just be like, you
isn't
see
it
the laser,
weird?
I see the light, and I'm like, yeah, that's your eye processing the information, and you know,
Yeah, but
it's
you're
kind of
seeing
similar.
like people describe seeing coding. Like that is to me is like that is such an interesting shared experience to have. Like I'm not doubting that.
Like
yeah,
who
because-
hasn't seen the Matrix or seen that green display? You know, like I feel like I know you mentioned that like there are blind studies, but I don't think you could be completely devoid of influence of being like the Matrix,
No,
which is like a
but fair enough, but still,
movie,
but still,
representation of data.
you're saying that the
whatever.
Matrix had such a cultural experience on the global like is it 100 monkeys thing? Like 100 people saw the Matrix. Now everyone who looks at a laser on DMT's seeing the Matrix go like that.
Well, everybody's seen that green text.
Yeah,
like I feel
but
like
it's
people
not.
have
It's
seen
a-
that somewhere. It's
a-
on TV. It's like
red-
it's a whatever.
It's red in this, so it's like different color completely, Dan.
Okay.
So first off, but the interesting thing is like it's a weird thing to collectively see, and a unique thing that you're seeing code, like coding, as if you're seeing behind something, like depth of code of just numerous code going like it's like you see through the laser and you're just seeing code go for as far as you can see through this laser, and like to me that's a fascinating like thing to see, because you're like, well, why? Like, why does everyone see that? Is there anything to that?
I feel like
other
you can
than-
say the same thing about when you press your eye, like press your hands to your eyes, and like you see fractal patterns and
you
stuff.
do.
You know, it's like
I used to
everybody
do
sees
that when I was a kid.
Everybody sees that. It's just kind of, you know, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like you
guess
could make
so.
an argument to kind of be like, well, that's kind of the same.
But even is it like, is there even something to that then? Like, you're seeing those fractal patterns. Like, does that is there something more to that than just simply washed away of like, yeah, everyone sees it?
It's not
Is there-
everybody say. I mean, there's a whole explanation behind that thing. Was it photophores or something? I can't remember what they're called, but it's like, yeah, the things in our eyes are called rods and cones. Like, like, you know, it's some kind of organization to how we process light and things like that. I just feel like it's whatever. I mean, yeah, there could be more to it. It could be codes in the lasers. What if you change the color? You said it was red. I thought it was
Yeah,
green. I
the
assumed
red.
it was green.
No,
Green
they-
makes more sense, but
Yeah, it's
What if they use the
that's
What
the
if they use
Matrix
the
talking,
UV?
though.
Yeah. What if they use the UV lasers? I used to have
what's
one
it
of those. The
called
thing
again?
was awesome.
right. So these are all part of like, so there is like the four like main theories, right? We've kind of now talked about all of them, which consciousness as field, that's like the brain tunes into frequencies beyond normal perception through DMT. That's like that's the main one. Like there is other fields of reality that having DMT.
It's like different currents of electricity, like AC and DC.
Yeah, like maybe the brain is like
Dude.
evolutionarily locked, and if you
This-
do this DMT, you now have a much more powerful brain that you can actually see the stuff that's all around us all the time, but your brain does not perceive it without this chemical. That's like one of the theories. The multiverse theory, like you're getting glimpses of different realities, like higher dimensional or like parallel universes. There's the information theory of consciousness, which is reality as data. And that's like the simulation thing. Like reality is ones and zeros, and you're doing DMT.
Hold on.
Technically, it's all
Zell,
data.
you should sign up. There's this guy. So the guy, Danny,
I'm in.
his name's Danny Goller. He's a filmmaker who's
He'll
doing
ship you a boot full
his
of
documentary is
semen and
called
VHS
The
tapes.
Discovery, which is the fucking red refracted lasers, and you see the codes. He is planning a group of volunteers to take a continuous. Hold on, where does it say? A continuous drop of DMT to volunteers to see if they can map out the DMT realm.
Continuous dose.
And what they're calling these people, these volunteers, psychonauts.
Psychonauts, yeah.
Love
that's
that.
That's a commonly used term.
That's great.
It's also
fucking
it's
term.
also
Great
great
term.
video games. They're also great video games. Psychonauts 1. I haven't played 2, but 1 was really great. 2
But I
haven't
guess
played.
yeah, it's like there's hold on, different. Is there different realms, like different DMT realms? The gate.
You see different things.
Asgard. and
Hold on.
Midgard,
Midgard, right?
Svarthelm, and
the three realms of DMT. I'm going to read this to you guys. The gates. A good 90% of people have discussed DMT experiences that have told me they see a spectacular light made of vast array of colors and shapes forming in front of them. This light has been described in many ways. Commonly, one may refer to the light as a gate, a doorway, a portal, or a wormhole. For the sake of simplicity, we refer to it as the gate. So that's just like, I guess that's the first part, like first stage. Stage one.
It a realm.
I don't know why they call it realm. The next is blast off. If stage one has been properly completed, as if there's some sort of fucking tasks
when you hit the
you have
score,
to do something.
When you hit all the bonus objectives or whatever, you get the next one.
But maybe people linger. Like maybe you linger in the experience because it's so new and vivid that you don't kind of explore what's happening more. So like I kind of get that if this is a completely like in your brain experience.
You have to collect all the coins to get to the next round. Like
this is like the bonus stage. This is like the game Myth. You guys remember that? Remember the game Myth? Mist? Is it Mist or Myth?
MIST. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from like 2000. Yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. Trams everywhere. So behind the gates, a tunnel is revealed. Within this tunnel, users are often reported seeing their life and memories flash before their eyes in extravagant color and complemented by extreme euphoria, which would make sense that people call this a spirit molecule because when they die, people say DMT is released and then you see your life flash before your eyes.
That's that pineal gland theory. Yeah. Like when you're on death, like it floods your body with this DMT.
The further one travels down this tunnel, the more disassociated one becomes with the body. Other common reports include contact with extraterrestrials, hearing alien voices, and the feeling of dying. I mean, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if I was at gate 2 doing a heavy dose of mushrooms because I kind of had that feeling one time. Stage 3, no man's land. The name speaks for itself. They become as stages continue, they become more and more convoluted. It's up to the user's psyche to decide what it does and does not want to remember. The experiences in stage 3 are extremely broad. Some have experienced living through the eyes of ancient beings, while others recalled touring cities composed of interdimensional machinery. Some have even reported having usually friendly conversations with sentient beings such as aliens, elves, angels, and in some cases, God. So
God is it, right? That's what I mean. That's the theory that these psychedelics started a religion. You know, what was it, Moses and the acacia bush or whatever? Burning bush. Like all these, like a lot of them.
If you burn an acacia bush, if you smoke acacia, is it an acacia bush? Does it get you high?
I think so. I think that's like one of the things. Like acacia is like an actual like psychedelic, and if you smoke it, you can see shit. So you've seen God.
She's saying Moses seen God. Moses was having a fucking backyard fire, and the wind blew in his face. Whoa!
Like there's a book. I think there's a book called like The Mushroom and the Sacred Cross or something that I've never read it, but I've heard it summarized on. That would make
way more sense to me as someone who's experienced a little bit of psychedelics. That's the case. Is that these fucking primitive folk did doses of hallucinogenics.
Ate some mushrooms they didn't realize what they were.
And then had these profound psychedelic trips.
It is like if you were just like, if you took a caveman, like brought them, they're frozen in the ice, you brought them, you unthawed them and they're alive somehow, let's say.
Here, eat these.
And you said, take this drug and tell me what you see. Like they could communicate somehow. They would show you some version of God. I guarantee it. Like you see these fucking elves or these insectoids or this like mythical light being floating above you, like doing an old.
I feel it's probably, well, I mean, back then you'd probably say like, you know, a lot of their frame of reference is a lot different from ours. And that's probably why you get a lot like Native Americans is a lot of more talking animals. And then like Egyptians was like, animal hybrids, that's your frame of reference is animals. So like a lot of your spiritual representations would be animals. Like you'd be like, that would be your, that's just what you're familiar with. So
right. If that's don't what they even say like or
hybrids, it'd be like something you don't usually see. It's like, wings on a person or, humans with animal characteristics, like something. That's like, what I think.
Aren't they, the Greeks, their mysteries, what's it called? Eleusinian Mysteries or whatever. That one book. Anyways, but I'm pretty sure they talk about that it was actually some type of ergot hallucinogen in the wine or something that they were drinking, and they were doing it and having these crazy visions or writing down all these like profound theories, and it was all because they're fucking stoned, dude. They're all
it's like
fucking high
it's
as
like
a
they said
kite.
the oracles, like all of their temples sat on like natural gas. Or was it like
They're all
natural
fucking
gas
stoned.
vents, and they're all just like, gassed out of their minds, just having seizures and stuff, and be like, yeah, Zeus is mad.
I see the future.
Zeus is pissed.
Right?
You guys
Dude.
got to sacrifice like 20 heads of white cattle, like now.
I have a window open that's just on the MSN like
To the
browser
gates.
page. It's just been sitting on there, and
That guy messaged you a picture of boots.
foot fungus, whatever, rotate around.
Dark web.
And I just got one that just popped up, and it just says, "This is your brain on psilocybin." I'm like, how? I think they're fucking listening, dude. They're fucking.
Were you Googling stuff? You were Googling stuff.
I wasn't googling shit. I've been
Was there-
sitting here too.
Who's the
my
author?
computer's gonna
Before?
froze.
Who's the
No.
author of that? Because I read a book once. This is your brain on music.
Didn't you? You just showed us pictures of psychedelic elves.
I did. Yes.
Like you did Google stuff. Why are you telling me
Yeah, I
you did
did.
Google stuff when you showed me
Well,
a
I
Google
forgot.
page?
I
Google
forgot
stuff?
I googled stuff. And actually, I didn't Google it. I binged it.
That's even worse because the MSN is like that's the same
Yeah.
thing. I binged it.
Was it? This is your brain on what?
Psilocybin.
Ah, so your ads are going to start trying to sell you.
Because I read a book
Psilocybin,
by I'm looking right here. I read Daniel J. Levitin. This is your brain on music, which was a really cool book if you love music. And this is your brain on. Oh yeah, there it is. You got this is your brain on food. This is your brain on birth control.
Like I saw the commercials. I know what your brain on drugs looks like. Smashed eggs.
No, Dan. It's machine elves and God. That's
It's
what
all
you see.
fractal gates and animal human hybrids. And I guess like my frame of reference would be different, but I can.
Anyways, the last person we'll really quickly talk about. We've pretty much talked about all the stuff, but it was Rick Straussman who did. Was like the first like study in years and years in the 90s on DMT, and pretty much they did 60 volunteers over 400 sessions, and they pretty much all described the same stuff we're just talking about now. So usually like they would experience like the effects starting within 30 seconds, peaking within 2 to 3 minutes, and then completely vanishing from memory almost after 30 minutes. And so it was him like in the 90s who put all these experiments, and since then there's really been nothing done. And that leads to like the new age stuff of like they're hiding it from us because it opens a portal into different dimensions, or like put your theory in there. It doesn't matter. But it is weird because if it's a drug, because there's some Schedule 1 drugs, obviously, that can do some pretty bad harm that really have no benefit, I guess.
I think there are some at the moment, like recently, there are studies going on about more in-depth studies about DMT and like how it affects the brain and stuff like. But we won't see those results for a while until they publish.
Well,
the
there's
research,
one
but
in
I
think in the UK. I had it marked down here somewhere. But there's one in the UK that's going on now. But yeah, it'll be probably a few years.
probably 2 or 3 years until
A couple
we get,
years
like,
before.
yeah.
Well, yeah, they'll do their paper. It'll be reviewed, and then by the time the public hears it, it'll be years out. But I mean, the same thing
Something
with
to look forward to.
psilocybin and MDMA and maybe DMT and other maybe mind-altering drugs for depression and severe anxiety and PTSD show like massive benefits in like so far. And what's the other one? It's like ibogaine or something too for PTSD. Like huge reversals for like suicidal thoughts and like big with veterans and
Yeah, there's a lot of research going into the benefits of
even like what was it?
hallucinogens.
Abbott used like the old governor of Texas, which is a super staunch
He's
Republican.
The current.
A current.
He's a piece of work. Yeah, but yeah.
no, but that's what I don't
they
know.
just outlawed marijuana down there.
Dude, that was the best press conference I've ever seen.
Turnaround.
He's like holding a bag of gummies. He's like, "Look at these. You gonna buy these and eat all these?" And people are like, I was like, "Yeah."
It's not him. It's Rick Perry.
Okay.
He is like a guy, obviously
I
Texan,
know of
staunch
him.
Republican, was anti-drugs, anti-everything, then seen the research about ibogaine for like anxiety and PTSD and stuff. Completely 180'd. Pro for it, but it's still a Schedule 1, even though it has like massive benefits compared to like, because the other stuff is like those RRSI drugs, which sure, maybe they help some people, or like I don't really know, but
A bunch of side effects and stuff.
huge
right?
side effects. Yeah, exactly. And you have to take them forever.
Yeah.
Whereas like this ibogaine stuff, after a few sessions, it's like 90% effective, which is
Long
crazy.
term. Yeah, because like the benefits of some like psilocybin stuff are like they last longer than traditional or some.
They
other
actually do
research that last
change.
longer.
Where like the drugs that are like FDA approved, that are big pharma, it's a continuous use drug. I mean, because everyone knows it's not even conspiracy. These are for-profit, publicly traded companies.
Insurance pays for it.
Yeah, like you need
So you jack up the price.
if you had a drug that you could just take and your PTSD and depression and is gone for years, it's not profitable. It's
dude, that's what I'm saying is like
Money's
when
in the
you're-
treatment, not the cure.
When you're talking about
100%.
these reversals of politicians and the politicians that just banned weed in like Texas and stuff, these guys don't have fucking strong opinions on this shit either way. They're
except
just
for
what bought and paid for, man. Bought and paid for.
But doesn't Texas have like a legal, like pharmaceutical version of weed?
I think they just hard turnaround of everything's a no.
No, but it's like it's a pill form weed. That's a pharmaceutical drug that you can
Brother,
get.
you better have the fucking ATF raiding Rogan's studio in Austin because I was like, I've seen him smoke it live.
I want to know what this is called now, because I know they had the fucking. Maybe it's not Texas. Maybe it's just.
I
United
don't know if it
States
was
in
a hard
general.
turnaround or it was like like they made it harder for prescription marijuana to be prescribed or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. I don't know if it was a hard turnaround. I just know it was a big to do in a couple of headlines.
Ban on all THC products, including vapes, edibles,
Okay.
and everything.
Texas has a
Big turnaround.
They have medical exemptions for low THC cannabis. So
Yeah.
what's that? CBD doesn't do fucking anything really.
Puts you to sleep.
Oh,
It's supposed to make your joints feel better, I think.
Make you sleepy.
oh, never mind. Hold on. This is breaking news too.
Breaking news.
Texas.
news here
This
on
is
Alien
as of
Theorizer.
4 hours ago. Texas governor
turnaround.
calls on special session after vetoing a bill to ban all THC infused goods. So the governor Greg Abbott was like, "Yeah, we're not doing
Oh, he
that."
just vetoed it?
He vetoed it.
All right.
But so another hard turn. 180 degrees.
Dude, I mean,
I wonder who is sponsoring the bill in the first place if he's vetoing it.
dude,
That's
that
wild.
kind of stuff's just wild, because everyone knows when alcohol was in prohibition, what happened. You know, you got
also like it's-
you got fucking NASCAR fucking moonlighting booze across borders and stuff because it was illegal. You had the mafia taking over. Like, organized crime thrives on illegal drugs. So if you want to stop cross-border cartel drug trade, some type of legalization of most drugs is probably in best interest.
I said big booze doesn't want marijuana cutting into their profits because they've shown that like once you legalize weed, like alcohol consumption goes
Yeah,
down.
because you don't get
like
hung over
noticeable.
on weed very easily.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
dude,
what I'm saying. I'm like,
dude,
big alcohol doesn't want.
You have
legalized
a couple edibles with the boys. You're having a good time.
Great time, boy. Great time.
Hey, you know what
Just
we should
before
do?
this podcast, I took 2 droppers, all right? Probably twice as much as I should have. I feel great. Great.
Hey, Zell, you know what we should do? You know what I'd love to do when I'm in town for 3 to 4 weeks?
DMT.
Yeah, no. I think we should fucking book a round of golf
Sure.
because the round of golf is hiding in plain sight. That's what
Of
it
course.
is.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And so what we can do is we can do a bunch of shrooms and
Just walk around on the golf
and
course.
just walk around.
Not even hitting the balls.
Just golf.
I'll just throw my ball.
Yeah.
And then just golf, and we'll just have a good time.
You know what? That sounds like the best day of my life right there.
Yeah. Right. And be like, yeah, because dude, I think it's an easy sell because it was like, hey, we never get to hang out, we never see each other in person, so we can book this golf. Because the best part about if we're not crushing like fucking 8 a beer a hole, and we're just edibles and shrooms right at the beginning of a golf round,
You'll feel great.
right? And then by the end, we're gonna be like,
I won't be able to drive, but I'll feel great.
we're gonna pick up. But then we can discuss it as, yeah, we had too many beers on the golf course, as our fucking pupils are. As you got cat eyes,
You're just staring at the gates.
yeah. I saw the elves.
I'm in.
Yeah, dude, that'd be so fun.
Those the little pills, like
Dude, I have an unopened package of 500 milligram pills.
They're great.
25 capsules.
You take 3 of those.
We're gonna take 12 and a half each.
It's got to finish the whole thing. Never going to eat them otherwise.
Yeah. Anyways, DMT, the machine elves, all that stuff it's fucking wild, no doubt. Are you crossing dimensions? Are you seeing into a different plane of existence? Are you accessing information that would otherwise be hidden? Or are you just experiencing a
Chemical cascade effect.
chemical cascade that is directed at the human experience? And we all kind of experience the same thing because we're all human and our DNA is almost identical between everyone. It's so, who knows? I like to think that you're uncovering another dimension.
Me
That
too.
would be sweet. But I mean, how do you? We don't even know what other dimensions exist. So how do you even know if that's a real thing?
Okay, if you want to.
My thoughts on it is, I think you're uncovering another dimension, but you're not getting a clear glimpse of it. You're like you're basically pressing your face against the screen kind of thing and looking through.
You're looking at the fish through the aquarium glass.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you're just like you're looking through, and that's the best you can do in the circumstances. But I get it, like this shared experience, but it's just so weird to me that everyone sees, especially after doing shrooms and stuff. And like shrooms is like, you can have very unique experiences and you can have shared experiences, but to have this like one that's like very like way more potent and, you know, universally, like people who do it have these shared experiences that don't know each other, that have no idea. But part of me, you know, maybe it's the fact that people who have had DMT have like polluted the pond kind of thing of talking about their experience. So people who are interested in the drug look into it, see the experiences, and now that's in like if me and you did it, or us three, we would all see those things because we're expecting to. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is it one of those things where it's like, I would like to blind save someone who doesn't know what DMT is. That's really cruel. But,
at least it would be over fast.
yeah. And then tell them, I'd be like, and let me know what you see.
What kind of elves did you see?
Yeah. Let me know what happens as it's happening to you. But it's interesting. I like to think we're seeing behind the curtain a little bit, or we're just peering through the curtain.
Interdimensional curtain. It's been lifted.
The screen. And you're just like, you can't quite see, but you're like, we can make out shapes. And you're like, those are fucking elves. There's elves back there.
Yeah. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
It's fucking cool.
Hey, listen, get on our Patreon. We got dope stuff on there. We got hundreds of hours of bonus content for you.
Hundreds! I think there's some beauties who actually, I don't know if you guys read them last week. I wasn't here, but I'll read them again if you did.
We didn't read nothing, dude.
Nothing?
Our computer crashed right at the end.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. There you go. I know there's at least these beauties. There's a couple of freebies. We're not going to read the freebies, but there's these beauties who are paying your boys, supporting their favorite podcast. We have a lot of these actually, some of these are, they're repeats. They've come back. They've left and they come back. We got Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. We have Christian, Terry Helgeson, Justin Payton, Cody from Manitoba, which I believe was the first ever caller of Cosmic Channels.
Yeah.
I think so.
Captain Jive, and Mr. Anti-Socialize. Thank you very much for supporting the show. We fucking appreciate it.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies. Peace.
See you in after hours.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.